black and gifted, hunted by the authorities. They see me as a threat. They focus targets minorities for propaganda. And the media selling.
In order to understand our future, we must understand the past. It's time that we have the big talk.
To hand me them cigarellos, why you take it so long? You view me as pure scum. I tell you, would it be wrong if I reached over?
Here I am at the Marcus Garvey organization.
Yes, you are at the UNIA-ACL Division 121. Yes.
Thomas W. Harvey.
Thomas W. Harvey. See, and you had the esteemed pleasure of sitting with our president, Elder.
Of 121.
Of 121. Wow. See, we have to be very careful as we're making this film. Make sure we always correct his speech, because he is the president of Division 121, the Thomas W. Harvey Memorial. Okay? And that sits right here at 1609 Cecil B. Moore Avenue. And that's in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. If you would take note that when we exchange conversation, we tend to gravitate towards the negative, but we need that particular point of view in order to carry over some of the thoughts that I think we need to do to, really pull out what we need to do. Now, you started with the youth and not knowing organizations to turn to. Okay, you started out with the youth, and what has not happened is the study of the recent past that we've been through. Now, the recent past is going to be 100 years of history. It'll be 50 years of history. It'll be 40, 20. It moves rapidly, but recent history, you want to reach back to 100 years and bring it forward. And then you'll begin to see the repeat in what is happening today.
Wow, and I think the man we could talk to right here is right next to us.
Right next to it. Elder?
You said 1960, but see, the 60s is only sitting on, for black people, the 30s and the 40s. The 30s and the 40s made a bigger change in our society in America than at any other particular time, unless you're going to go back to the 20s. Then you got to go back, drift into the rebuilding of America right after the Civil War, and come on up. See, now, that's not a lot of time. Quality is kept. You have a lot of people that had effect on your life that had been slaves.
They were still around.
Well, you had people in the 40s and the 50s.
Oh, man.
Who had made direct contact with people who had been slaves. You'd be surprised, I hear you talk about Garvey, most of us don't realize, one of Mr. Garvey's top-notch people had been born a slave. Her name is Henrietta Benton Davis, which is a good study piece for, a lot of people, they didn't understand the movement of a lot of black women in the movement, but we had black women that was very, very powerful during that particular time, and she happened to be one of them. With a race of people coming out from under the catastrophe like we came out from under, it's going to be hard to measure the difference between regress and progress. Okay, so that's what we have to deal with. That's what you people are going to be saddled with, whether it was regress or progress. When you deal with integration, was it regress or was it progress? What you gained through integration, you may also lost that much through integration. So therefore, that's going to be your measuring stick that you're going to have to measure by. Your children have to measure by. My era came at a different era. My era came when we put a lot of emphasis on education. But what type of education did we put the emphasis on? Now, because for some reason right now, that may not have been our way out of the dilemma that we're in America. That may have not been our way out of the dilemma we're in around the world. because we have to face the fact that our dilemma is not regional. The dilemma of the black man is global. See, not just in America, North America, South America, it's global. And we have not dealt with that yet. We've dealt with regions, little pockets wherever we may be, but to deal with the total picture, you're going to have to look at it globally.
I noticed when you, just to hit a little bit more on the integration, when we integrated, it seemed like we kind of lost a lot because we used to have our own stores, and we, you know, everybody had, even they had hospitals and stuff. Now, I even look on Cecil B. Moore. They're like, where's the black businesses? Like, it seemed like that they were just, you know, it was like more of the opportunity for other people to take advantage of what we had.
Well, you relinquish one position for another. And that's your dilemma that you're going to have to figure out. That's why I was telling you earlier, did you win or lose with integration? That's what you're going to have to figure out. You're part of this black involvement, black awareness is going to come under you. You're going to have to figure this out. Your children are going to have to figure it out. Where you don't have black hospitals anymore like you used to. You don't have black movies, black stores, you know, so therefore you're using someone else's. So therefore that's the dilemma that you're in. But that's what you traded off when you traded off for integration. So was it a plus or a minus? That will be yours. See, so this like when you trade off certain things for certain things, it depends on where you are on that side of the ledger when the deal goes down.
I studied like different other cultures, and they always have their own group. Like you got the Koreans, they have their whole, they got Korean neighborhoods with signs in Korean, and you got, you know, the Chinese, they have their little areas.
We're gonna be fair about this. If you're gonna be fair about this, there is a place called Korea. So therefore they have a place where they can always replenish their culture. You have no place to replenish your culture. Your culture has been destroyed there and it never came here. So therefore that's the difference. See, what you're up against is a culture. See, that's what us in America never realized. Whenever you dealt with that man, you dealt with the culture. You did not deal with the individual. When you dealt with the Irish, you dealt with the Irish culture. When you dealt with the Japanese, you dealt with the Japanese culture. When you dealt with anyone, France, whatever, they had a culture. You do not have a culture. You do not have a culture intact that you can raise back to and replenish, get strong again and come back out. You don't have it.
And our culture, we were slaves.
Well, you weren't really slaves in a lot of instances, but your culture was killed.
We are the only people in this land that they did specific lawmaking, specific policies, and they had specific programming to break that culture. Okay, they stopped the use of our name. You know, we couldn't call our African name. Okay, they stopped the African tongue, so we didn't have our mother tongue. Okay, they stopped the spirituality or way of life. So the way we looked at life, the way what we worshiped was taken away. Our music, okay, the drum, everything that makes a culture, from the womb to the tomb. I'm borrowing Elvis' statement. And he may have borrowed from the African statement, okay? So, you know, but from the womb to the tomb, our culture was taken away.
Time for digital disconnect. Black children, black young people who grew to be us if we don't educate.
educate them any different than we are. Just like if we wasn't educated, we wouldn't be where we're doing today. Someone set us down and taught us. We're going to have to sit them down and teach them. Other than that, they will grow into us. See, you grow into your mother and your father. You grow into your grandmother and your grandfather. No one taught them. That's why our thing lasted so long, because there was not enough teaching going on to get out of it. We only taught you how to live within it. We never taught how to get out of it. So the disconnect, as you see, is a disconnect. It's not a disconnect. It's just a continuance of what's been going on all the time. Wow.
Talk to me.